Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, consider subscribing, and if you're not new here and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing as well. So I wanted to address a question I get all the time, which is, how do you make money staying at home, being a stay-at-home mom? And also, some of you may know that my girl's dad, he's back and forth between South Africa all the time. So like right now, this is one of the times where he's in South Africa, so we don't have two incomes. So how the heck do I do it? Well, I started my own business. I started this business a couple of years ago. My oldest daughter is 4 years old, and right when she was born, I really had the need to stay at home, right? So I was on maternity leave from being a teacher, so I was getting income in, but I was thinking, like, as she got closer, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, I started thinking, I don't want to leave my little infant baby at a daycare. What can I do? At the same time, when I had my first child, I wanted them to dress in lovely African print. That's been a dream of mine since I was a little girl. And so I went, and I didn't have any money to spend, being on maternity leave, living in DC as a teacher. So I just got one bundle of fabric, and I think it cost me maybe like $30, right? I only had that much to spend. I had my mom's old sewing machine, which is not this. And I got some thread, and that's all. And what I did was I went on YouTube and I started learning how to sew. I looked on YouTube, and I also just looked on a lot of blogs. So if you're interested in sewing, a lot of times it's actually like blogs that tell you everything step by step. And so I would just watch and read and figure it out. The first thing I made was incredibly ugly, but I got a little bit better. And I met someone who was selling stuff on Etsy. And I was like, hey, if she can sell stuff on Etsy and make money, I can sell stuff on Etsy and make money. I'm an intelligent person. I can make this work. So I put up the first thing that I sewed on Etsy. And I didn't listen to anyone like, oh, your picture needs to be like this or that. I just read through Etsy's handbook and did what they recommended. Take the best picture you can. Over time, you'll get better. So I took the picture, I posted it up, and I got my first sale, right? That first item that I made probably took me 3 or 4 hours, right? And I was charging $36. So, without thinking about the cost of the fabric and everything, let's just say I was making, $8 to $10 an hour, right? That's not a lot, but some people live on that amount. And I thought, hey, if I can make $8 to $10 an hour by sewing clothes, then why not? I can stay at home. That's the benefit. Sure, you're not going to be making $20, $30, $50 an hour from the beginning, but I started thinking, hey, I can become a better seamstress. I can start to sew faster. So I researched, how do you sew faster? How do you get better? Basically, the answer is you keep practicing, and you can also get a faster machine. And so that's what I did. And over time, I just learned to sew faster. I got in so many more orders. I got in so many orders because this product was something in demand that African Americans and Africans living in the United States wanted African print clothing for their children, that I had to close my shop down just so that I could catch up with all of the orders. I no longer sell on Etsy because I'm a smart business person, and I'm like, why am I giving Etsy a little percent of my money? Let me sell on my own website. So I currently only sell on my own website, and sales have gotten so good that I can't even produce all the clothes that people want. So I only sell a couple of the things that I could potentially sell on my website. The next step for me as a businesswoman that I've started to take is going to find people who can sew for me. So I would love that to be local people, minorities, women. But if I can also go to a factory and have them manufacture my clothing, that's something I'm working on now too. So that's what I do. And here's the thing about it. That's not what you have to do, obviously. Everyone doesn't have to sew. Everyone doesn't even have to get on Etsy. There are small businesses that you can run on and offline that can make money. The key is finding something that you want to do, that you love to do, that's going to make you money. And here's the thing. I'm not artistic at all. When the first person wrote a review for me on Etsy and was like, oh, the designer is so amazing, I was like, I am not a designer. I am the least artistic person. I cannot even draw a straight line, right? Now, after practice, I can cut a straight line, but this was something that I was excited about in the beginning and I wanted to do. Now, do I love sewing for 8 hours a day in order to make money? No. So after a couple years, I started saying well, what else can I do? And so I started generating other streams of income. But the point is to pick something, get started doing it. Some people just buy and resell on Etsy. So there's businesses on Etsy where they just straight up sell fabric. And you kind of have to have some insider knowledge in order to do it, because you have to know where to get the fabric from, you know, where are the best prices, and then you have to basically just cut and ship off fabric to people, right? And so since there's not a lot of competition, but since there's competition, you're going to have to be smart. What's going to make your business stand out? So think about anything you could do. If it's private tutoring, maybe you can do private tutoring online and you specialize in toddlers because you're really good with little kids, or maybe you're really good with the older kids and you go up to the local schools, you know, and tell the parents, hey, if you're struggling, I can teach your kids this. If you're good at math, you can do that. If you're good at art, do that. You know, teach art lessons. You know, start off small. I think some people, like, when you're leaving your job, so let's say my salary in DC public schools at the time was about $65,000. I did not leave my job thinking I have to make $65,000, you know? What I did is I created a budget and I said, where can I live? What habits can I cut out so that my expenses are not that high? If I want to stay at home with my newborn baby, you know, and teach her things and just be around her and just be a mom, then I'm going to have to cut down everything. So I think I did that. And let's say where we live was like a little bit not expensive for the Maryland, DC area, but I think rent was about $1,100. And then adding on utilities, maybe $1,200, right? So my total, like my fixed cost was $1,200 plus my car insurance. So maybe that was like $1,300 plus a couple of other things. And then including food and all that stuff. So let's say, I think it was about $2,000 that I had to make each month. And then I said, okay, I need $2,000 a month in order to live. No, I'm not going to be driving a fancy car or whatever, but I'm not going to have to go into work. Children are automatically covered for health insurance by like Medicaid or Medicaid. So I wasn't really worried about myself at the time. If you have like serious health problems, that's something different, right? So I was just thinking I need to make $1,200 a month. And so I broke that down into days and I said, okay, what's 1,200 divided by 30 days, you know, and that equals a certain amount of money each day I needed to make. So I would say to myself, okay, I have to get 3 sales today. That's it. If you get 3 sales every day, Akiba, then you're going to be able to stay at home, you know? And so I would wake up super early in the morning and work my butt off until I got those 3 sales. It doesn't seem like a lot, right? But when you're on the internet, that can be like posting messages in groups, you know, in forums. That can be posting a few times on Instagram. That can be starting up a YouTube channel and posting on that, right? That can be just having my daughter out and about, wearing the clothes, having my business cards. People would be like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that? Right here, you know, or having a few in the trunk of my car to be like, yep, you can buy this one right here. And then once I got those 3 sales for the day, or it could be 1 sale and people are buying 3 different items. But once I got that, whatever it was, like $40 to $50 a day, I was good. And then I could enjoy the rest of my day. And so some weeks I would work really hard on the weekends, like pushing advertising, which is all free on the internet, or a few dollars on Etsy, or eBay or Amazon or something like that. I think Instagram also had ads at that time too. So I would just push that really hard on the weekends. I've made the money for the week. I'm totally good. So what I want to tell you is that please be encouraged. Don't be afraid to stay at home because you're thinking about money. But do not think you're going to be living a life where you're like going out to, you know, Ruby Tuesdays or shopping all the time or, you know, doing these things you normally do. You can still have fun. I mean, you get to stay home with your child, which is when you have a baby, you realize that's actually pretty big. The thing that I did miss was having childcare. You're definitely not going to be able to afford childcare in the beginning, but now I can. As we speak right now, a PUA and a matriar are at their daycare provider. You can also like shop around because at a certain point, if you're working from home full time, if you have little babies, you're going to need some help. And so most of you, I'm sure, have like aunties, uncles, cousins, whatever, parents. My mom is deceased. So I don't have like a mom where I can just drop them off at, you know, and pay her $100 a week or something minimal like that. But I do have their current daycare provider who also took care of my sister's kids. So I totally trust her and she gives me like a pretty good rate. My daycare expenses now are about $1,200 a month. Right. So right now I am able to cover their daycare expenses with the things that I'm doing from home. They're not mega big businesses, I'm not like rolling in the dough, but I have money to get stuff that I like. So be encouraged. If you have business ideas, just put them in the description box. I'll not put them in the description box. I will put some in the description box below, and please leave them in the comments. If you are at home, what do you do working from home? I will add in a couple other things that I've done in the past, just like some random skills, and those random skills you can turn into a business. So one thing that I realized that I knew how to do that some people didn't was like design websites, right? So starting from in high school, I knew how to like code websites and things like that. However, what I did as an adult was when Wix was first coming out and other things like Bluehost Builder and things like that, right? Wix is totally easy to do, right, for millennials and even for some older people. But there are a lot of older people who have no clue how to even use a service like Wix or any other of these, any like Shopify, things like that, even though they literally give you the template, right? You might not think that's knowledge, but that is big for some people. So what I did is I targeted older people. I asked my aunt and like her circle who are like in their 60s and stuff, who have established businesses and they have established nonprofits, right? But what they don't have is a modern website. So at that time I was like, hey, I'll build a website for you. $300, literally $300. And this was 5 to 10 years ago. Not 10 years ago, but maybe 5 to 7 years ago, right? When I would be charging $300 to make a website. Now I know that there's like other like competitors out there, and through Wix they have like their own programmers who will do it for you for a cheap price. But still, if you go with honest intentions and say, hey, you need to catch up with the time, let me do this for you. If you're even like a slightly good at art, you don't even have to be the best. Like, hey, let me design a website for you. There's tons of other stuff. Let's say that you have no skill and you want to build skill in something. Become a party planner, go on Etsy, look at all the cutesy stuff, take a few pictures, do a few do-it-yourself things, and then advertise yourself as someone who plans party. I am telling you, like anything that you can offer, anything that you can think of, you can make a business out of that. The thing that you need to just remember though is that it's going to start small, right? And you're going to have to struggle. And here's the bottom line. What I told a friend the other day who is super scared. She has a part-time job and she is really scared of just leaving that part-time job. But here's what I told her. You're not going to die if you leave your part-time job, Yes, it's going to be you and your baby at the house. That's going to force you to find a way to pay the bills, right? She's not going to get evicted from where she is, right? Because first of all, the eviction process takes a little while, but the type of person she is, I know you're going to find a way to get that money and make it work. Sometimes you have to put yourself out there. Well, all the time you have to take a risk in order to have great gains. So I hope you all have enjoyed this video. I hope it's been informative. If there's anything else I can do or I can tell you, please let me know. If you want to hear more about this topic, let me know in the comment section below and I'll make it. Thanks. Have a good day.